I'm Nurse Jessica Seitz, along with Nurse Erica. We're Nurses Uncorked, the podcast that takes nursing facts with nursing comedy and makes a little cocktail out of it. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Nurses Uncorked podcast episode. And I'm so excited because today we have our second guest on, our second special guest. And I love when we have guests on because it kind of like we get to hear somebody's side of the story. So I'm sick of hearing Erica. I mean, all she does is yap all day. So this will be a fresh take on something. And we get to hear somebody. I'm just kidding, you guys, but it is cool to have guests on. So today, as always, I'm Nurse Jessica Seitz, and you've got Nurse Erica. We're both hosts of Nurses Uncorked, and today we have a lovely lady that I met through TikTok, probably about maybe a year and a half ago, or maybe longer. I don't know. Her TikTok handle is at DZ Sherry. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I asked her if it was D's nuts, and that was not correct.
It's not. No.
Yeah. I was like, D's nuts, Sherry. And she's like, no, it's not that at all. It's actually something sweet about my husband. I was like, oh, okay. So I really messed that one up. But yeah, I know it's horrible. So don't reference that. But she also goes by Lou, Nurse Lou. And we have such a tale that we're
so much to talk about.
Oh my gosh, we're going to get into. I'm going to let Erica just start with the questions because that's what she does. She's a talker. Get into it, Erica.
Well, should we do our cocktail of the week real quick?
Oh yes, I forgot. Yes, let's do it. What do we got?
Okay.
What are we doing?
So you know that I recently went on a trip to Italy, and the last night.
Oh, did you? Wow.
Must be nice.
I was in Italy.
I'm jealous.
It was a free trip.
Oh,
Stop!
Look at her. She's
so much.
Okay.
Okay.
The last night of the trip.
I'm going to be nice now.
Thank you. The last night of the trip, our last dinner was a bunch of nurses. One of the nurses bought us all rounds of limoncello. And
yummy.
I am telling you guys, by the end of the night, we were all so happy. We had the best time. This stuff looks and tastes and smells just like Pledge. It's awful.
It's so cute, though.
It's awful.
Oh, God.
But if you want to have a good time, I highly recommend the Pledge tasting limoncello.
Okay, so wait, it smells gross and it tastes gross, but you recommend it? Wow.
It takes you there.
Because we had such a good time. Like, yeah, it takes you there. Exactly. It takes you there. Yeah.
Is it one of those
you only
drinks
get
that
a
like
little
it burns going down? Does it
A little
burn
bit.
going down, or is it
A little bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, then that's why it does its job. Okay,
yeah.
well, if you just want to get hammered, follow Nurse Erica's recipes.
Limoncello.
Drink, grab some Pledge from under the sink. No, I'm just kidding.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that. You know they'll try. Don't.
Yeah, no,
exactly.
please.
There's a warning label somewhere.
People.
Please.
Yeah, no, we're talking about actual beverage here.
Yeah.
So let's get. I'm so excited about this podcast, and I'm so happy, Lou, that you decided to do this. I didn't know if you were gonna. I was like, I think that this story is like, crazy,
Insane.
crazy.
It really
I
is
just
insane.
don't. I
Kind
don't
of like dismissed myself after that.
I just
was
don't.
like,
I don't even
just gonna
know.
have to lay low a little bit.
Well,
Yeah.
Erica.
So-
So you go ahead. You get into it, girl.
Now, I believe it was just about a year ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it about August of 22? I think. Yeah. And there was a viral video by someone that, referred to himself as Nurse Eugene that he was making from his hospital bed and had a harrowing tale that he was on shift in a patient's room and that the patient attacked him physically, that he was in there for like 30 minutes, that he pushed the panic button on his badge, no one came, that he called out for help, that no one came, and that he was assaulted. And afterwards, when he went back out because security supposedly did finally show up. And then when he went back out and confronted the nurses, like, why didn't you come to my rescue? They all said, we just thought you were in there like starting an IV or something. And so the entire nursing community, especially on TikTok, I think heard that, and we were all just appalled and devastated on his behalf, because that's just like a double, assault. It was absolutely horrible. And so
I just want to say,
know
the video
you shared,
was gut wrenching. Like, the video really it pulled at your heartstrings. Like, seriously.
That part.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the video immediately. You were like, oh my gosh, I can see myself in that situation. Like, we're so understaffed. You have a patient that's doing something horrible to you. You need help. There's nobody there to help you. It's like the worst case scenario. And then you have this video of Eugene in the hospital with the IV somewhere and the gown
shebang.
and the whole thing. I mean, Academy Award. I mean, I'm just saying.
That's
serious,
like eons. It's just
seriously,
very noteworthy acting there. Like,
I mean, it was freaking amazing. If anybody needs to hire a good actor, right there,
there you go.
Yeah,
everybody's heartstrings were pulled. I would say. Okay.
Go ahead.
So tell us, Sherry, when you first saw the video, what was your reaction, and what did you end up doing?
And did you know Eugene prior to this, or no?
So this is the part where it kind of like catches me off guard, because I did know Eugene before this happened.
Okay.
I was on a random live because we were talking about.
Or I forgot.
I told you that.
So
I said I think she knew Eugene already.
Oh yeah. So the hole is deep. I'm telling you. Hold on for the ride.
Okay, I can't wait.
I did know Eugene before this, so we were on a live randomly, because I pop up randomly, talk to the other nurses about any given subject, and I guess that day we were talking about pink sauce. And he jumps up in the live and he's like, oh yeah, I had a patient come into my ER and put pink sauce in their hoo-ha. And I was like, what? What do you mean they put pink sauce in their hoo-ha? He was like, oh, well, the girl said that they could use it as, like aphrodisiac kind of gaming thing. So they used it and got a really bad infection.
What the hell is pink sauce?
So the pink sauce lady is on TikTok. She's from Miami, and she made like this all around, all you could use, kind of like
viral,
but a viral video. But then she was sending it without it being pasteurized, so it was spoiling in the mail. People were saying they were getting sick. And things like, so we were talking about that. So he went into the live and said that a patient put it up there, and we know patients do things like this. So I'm like, you got to tell me all about it.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Live, because nosy, we're nosy. You want to find out. So I invited him into the live. We started talking about, the whole occurrence, how he's a travel nurse, blah, 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 blah. And that budded, the ever friendship, because we meet all over TikTok, all kinds of cool people. So here it goes. Another nurse friend. We're going to start to chill. So we're constantly going live. And he texts me every single day, like, good morning. How are you? Little memes here, little memes there. So a couple of days went by and I didn't hear from him. I'm like, that's not like him. For him not to send a meme, a picture, or something. What's going on? So
now, do you mean on your personal cell phone or on TikTok?
On my personal cell phone.
Okay.
So we started on TikTok, and then it gradually went over to the phone. So this is we're probably talking from like July into August or whichever. So it went from TikTok into personal phones, because, it takes a while for you to feel somebody out.
Yeah.
Are they a weirdo? Are they a creepo? Are you going to be, hunting me down before I give my personal number? So I was like, you know what? I feel comfortable. Yeah. We can go ahead and exchange numbers. We'll do whatever. So when I didn't hear from him for a few days, I was like, this is really weird. What's going on with him? Where are you? Is your assignment really troubling you? And that's when he calls and said, I'm so sorry. The reason why I wasn't answering my phone is because I got attacked last night while I was at work. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like, did you say anything? What did you do? Did you call the police? Did you call the news people? And he was like, well, they told me not to press charges. The whole sob story. And I was like, you know what? We're on TikTok. We have a big community of nurses. Yeah. You have nurse attorneys there. You have fellow nurses, that will vouch, and come forward and help you, because this is devastating. We would never want this to happen to any of us. So the fact that it happened to you, like, oh my God, you have to say something. You have to say something so you can try to get support. If you can't pay for an attorney, you can get help on TikTok. It's a big community.
Yeah.
So he's all for it. And I'm like, okay. We'll post the video if you're okay with it. We'll just let them know the basics of it, and that you'll go forward with an attorney and blah, 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 blah. He's all for it. Of course you were all for it.
Wait, did
in retrospect.
Did Eugene have post on his TikTok already prior to this? Like,
so he had minimal posts, but it was nothing really in depth. It was very same backgrounds. And it's like when you go back now and you look at it, you realize just how little was actually there to say that he was actually a practicing nurse. Like there's not much there to say this guy's actually at work. It
but
wasn't
when you
there.
had conversations with Eugene, did he seem knowledgeable? Did he
So
seem...
he did seem knowledgeable, but when you are like friends with someone and you're having a conversation, when you bring somebody from the outside in and they start to listen to the conversations you're having, a few of my mutuals that I bring into these conversations would say, hey, did you ever notice that he's just echoing what you say? Like when you guys have conversations, when someone would ask a nursing question, that he's not necessarily answering the questions directly. Like he's letting you take the lead on answering and just kind of like mimics and shadows off of what you're saying to kind of like reinforce it, but he's never directly answering the question. So I wasn't paying attention, of course. I had so many things going on in the background with me. And my first instinct is not to ever judge my patient and say they're lying. So whether it be a patient, whether it be a family, you know, I try to believe you first and give you that benefit of the doubt. So if I'm friends with you in the beginning and then you say something like this devastating happens to you, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're lying.
Right,
I need more proof than that.
Because who would do that? Who would do that?
Right. You want to be a supportive friend. You want to be that supportive, you know, person. So you just say, you know what? I believe you and I'm going to try to help you. Well,
and that shows what a good person you are,
you know,
honestly.
And that's when I also found out that he had, beforehand, I found out that he had sickle cell and that he had all these issues. So what really made me believe him is that he would FaceTime me numerous times when he's in the hospital bed. They're taking care of him. He has his crises. So it's like, I would never say that it wasn't true because you're a sick individual. You're in the hospital. You have, you know, a disease that's, you know, very ailing to you. So you want to be as supportive. I'm not going to try to add more drama to your life.
Was that part true? The sickle cell part from what you know, or?
I cannot even confirm, honestly.
Okay.
I can't.
Well, it did look like he was in a legit hospital in the video,
yes,
right?
However, he was in a hospital, but there were a few conversations that were had when providers would walk into the room, and you know how they would say things. Of course, it's like a violation of HIPAA. However, they're speaking out loud and you're telling them that your best friend, your friend is on the phone, that they could say whatever in front of you. And there was one provider that actually walked into the room and was like, your labs are coming back. It doesn't say that you have sickle cell. And I was like, what did the doctor just say? And he's like, there's no way. I've had sickle cell for this long. Like it was like a back and forth with him and the provider. And I was like, why would the provider come in and say that your labs don't reflect that you have sickle cell? That's a big deal here.
Yeah.
So he's like, she must have walked into the wrong room. And I was like, so, you know, those little red flags just kind of start to go off. Right. So it's like, noted. You put it back there and kind of like put it on the shelf for later until, you know, you can kind of dive a little deeper. So made the video, you know. Eugene was at work. He was attacked by a patient. He pressed his panic button for 30 minutes. And I was like, you know, it's devastating because we all know what can happen in a few minutes, let alone 30 minutes. So it was like pulling at heartstrings. And people would comment on the video and say, how could you be so naive? Look at the dressing on the central line. It's not even there. And listen, we've worked in all kinds of places. And those dressings look all kinds of ways in every different place you go. So you're not going to immediately say that it's not an intact central line because of how the dressing looks. Because
to be honest, as an L&D nurse, I don't deal with central lines like hardly ever. That's like our worst nightmare. We want to send them away if somebody needs a central line.
What is that?
Yeah, exactly. So for me to analyze and say that the dressing isn't correct, I wouldn't freaking know. And I think a lot of nurses are probably in the same boat. Like not everybody is changing central line dressings.
They're not all meticulous with their dressings either. It's going to look different for every single person that does it. So
you were the first one to post about this?
Yeah.
Prior to him making any video, you said what happened. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you did it before his video. I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. But I feel like it was all part of that whole diabolical plan. It was like, okay, you have a following, you have a face on TikTok. If you post my video, it'll get a lot further than me posting my own video kind of thing. You know, it was just
okay.
And you were happy to do it because you were so upset on his behalf.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like
nobody helped you. Nobody's listening to you.
You know,
you're
I feel
a
bad.
fellow nurse. Yeah. Somebody has to stand up for you.
Absolutely. And that's just the way I am.
Also, I think it's important to point out, it helped me describe it, but Eugene's demeanor is very soft. You could see where he would be a victim, maybe.
Yes.
Easily.
Yes.
Would you say that's accurate?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because when I tell you the hole is so deep, there were so many stories. So many stories of him being a victim, whether it be his family, whether it be events that he's, participated in where devastating things have happened. Like he mentioned, he was part of the Pulse shooting in Orlando,
wow.
that he was in there. So when someone has that chain of bad luck and that black cloud following them, you feel horrible for them. Like, how could you have such luck in life for all of these terrible things to be happening to you? Because there are some people who really are like that. They are just down on their luck, and all the bad things that could happen will. So you feel bad, but
Right.
yeah, it that's his demeanor. He
So how
plays the victim
your
very
video
well.
got a lot of views? Then I take
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what started this whole.
Lots of views. He
It went
from
viral.
having
Very, very viral.
Oh yeah, he went from having maybe a couple hundred followers to over 18,000, 20,000 followers, And when you post a video like that, you're not seeking attention for yourself, because that's not to bring attention to my page. It's to bring attention to your cause and for you, so that you can get help. So I was like, oh my God, look at your following now. You have all this support. The nurse community sees you. Everyone can try to help you as much as they can. There's nurse attorneys here that you can reach out to, tell them your story, and they'll dive in and be able to help you. That was my whole thing. Like, it's on you now. It's out there. Make sure you take care of this. And if you need my help on the back end, I got you.
Now, when did that clip of Eugene come into play? The one of him in the hospital, was that you incorporated that into your video, or did that come later?
No. So apparently, with me posting the video saying that he was attacked, there was a lot of, how there's always like a troll negative comment or something.
Always.
So he was saying, you know what, I'm going to speak out and I'm going to say this and I'm going to say that. And I said, no, don't do that. Because I'm always like in the back saying, don't respond, don't respond,
Right.
don't respond. But it was
Or
all part of
people
the plan.
saying, like, how do we know that this is a real thing, kind of?
So there
or-
was people who bluntly came out and said, dude is freaking lying. He's a liar. Like, literally just flat out, he's a liar. The story's not true. It's so over the top, it's fake. But I personally would never say that to a friend of mine. I would have
Right.
to believe you first and try to help you. And then later on, if I am that friend to you, you would come and say, hey, everything's not entirely true, but it got kind of far. But no, there was none of that. So
Okay.
people would comment and say things like about the central line, about the no tears, like crazy crap, And he's
Okay.
like, I'm going to say something. I feel so offended. This is my life on the line. Like, it was very dramatic, very victim, very like, I'm hurt. And you could tell you're feeling for him. And like, this is a person who is hurt. You're devastated. You are traumatized. You went through this horrible situation in your lifetime. And now you're online and you're seeing all these negative comments and negative feedback from people who are saying that you're lying and it's not true and you're doing this for attention. It hurts. So when he was saying that he was going to make response videos, I was like, focus on healing. Focus on you. All of this stress is going to set you back with your sickle cell and it'll blow up a crisis and all this.
Right.
And don't do it. But then he's like, I can't help it. I'm just going to make a video. And I was like, well, listen.
You do what you got to do.
You do what you got to do. I've taken you this far. Go ahead. So then he started posting his own videos. And that's how the video came from the hospital, where he's in the bed with the central line saying, I can't believe that people would say I'm lying. This is my life. Tear, tear, tear. That I was attacked and nobody came. And they said that it was because this and it was just very elaborate.
I believed it.
Extremely
I'll tell you
elaborate.
that.
I believed it.
I did
And
too.
then at some point there was a GoFundMe started for
Yes.
him,
So
right?
Here's this thing. So in the beginning, I was telling him, because there is a nurse creator called Your Nurse Lawyer on here. There's another lawyer. I think there was two that I reached out to in their inbox via Instagram, because on TikTok, if you're not a mutual, you cannot inbox them. So I messaged them on Instagram and I was like, hey, I know you heard of Eugene's story. We're going to need an attorney to kind of head over everything just so that he can get on the right direction on what to do about, pressing charges on the hospital. So this doesn't happen to anyone else, because it's not about suing for money. It's about making a statement that this is unacceptable and it can't happen, right? So I don't know if it was in the plans that these attorneys didn't respond immediately because sometimes you have to send an actual consultation, email, stuff like that. So Instagram just wasn't going to cut it. So it allotted a few days for him to say, I found my own attorney. And I'm not going to pry. If you said you found an attorney, then you found an attorney. I'm not your mother. I'm not your sister. I met you online. If you say you found an attorney, then congratulations.
Right.
What
Wonderful.
did the attorney say were the fees? And us being travel nurses, we're not bragging on our bag and how much money we have. But if it's going to cost a pretty penny, it's going to cost a pretty penny. And you can be open and honest and say that you weren't expecting to dish out that kind of dough for a lawyer, so you can ask for help. So I said he should create a GoFundMe. Create a GoFundMe. Right. You have all this support on TikTok. Have the GoFundMe. Ask them to help you for attorney fees, because if the hospital wants to drag this out and not settle with you, it's going to cost you. You're not going to be able to keep that attorney on retainer for free. You have to pay the lawyer.
You're right. Exactly.
He agreed. He agreed. He was like, I've never done a GoFundMe before. And I was like, well, I've never done one either. I mean, just go online. I'm sure it's pretty self-explanatory. And he was like, would you be able to help me? So here I go. I'm like, okay, I'll help you set up the GoFundMe. So GoFundMe was pretty self-explanatory, as I expected.
Yeah.
You set up the GoFundMe, you put in who's the beneficiary, you add their email, and of course they'll tell you that whoever is claiming any funds that come into the account will have to provide an ID, and they have to verify the email and blah, 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 so on and so forth.
Right.
So we set up the GoFundMe, and I told him, I was like, I'm not going to push a GoFundMe. I'm not known to push any GoFundMes. I'll post it once on my page. And if anybody really wants to donate, they will. They're not going to forget you. They will. You shouldn't have to beg people to donate to your cause, especially being a travel nurse and you're saying you're as, affluent as you are, or you have the funds. Like, I wouldn't be on TikTok begging anybody for anything. If I got it like that, like, I'll pay for it myself, But it just started conflicting after the GoFundMe came out. I'm like, you're saying you're doing first class everything. You're saying Black Card this. You're saying you do luxury everything. Like, I don't understand why it is that you really need this GoFundMe to pay for an attorney if you have the funds to pay for the attorney. So it was just
how much was raised ultimately? Do you know?
Thank God the GoFundMe didn't get too far. He probably raised like $750 with like $100 of it being my own that I put into the GoFundMe. So he would have like $20 here, $30 here, $100 there. Like it wasn't too much. Probably like good $750. And with $100 being my own. And
I'm
there was a
surprised
couple...
that he didn't get more than that.
I am glad though that he didn't get more.
In hindsight, but I'm surprised.
I'm glad because, if the GoFundMe would have came out initially when the whole story came out, it probably would have been that way. But I'm glad that, everything happens for a reason and everything happens the way it's supposed to. And I'm a firm believer in that. And I think that's exactly why it happened the way that it did. Mm-hmm. But when everything started to unfold, I tried to transfer over control of the GoFundMe to him.
Right.
Because I'm like, look, the other nurse creator on here is up my behind about not letting you come online and push this GoFundMe as if this is some kind of like, in my brain, like this is some kind of scheme. I don't push GoFundMes. If they want to donate, they will. So if you want control of the GoFundMe and you want to push it, then do it.
Yeah,
so
have
I
at
put
it.
his email through, put the beneficiary through. I said, please, I'm going to send you the email for you to take over, and I'm going to transfer over the I guess the capabilities or the access to the account to you. GoFundMe is very smart, and GoFundMe wants only the person named as beneficiary to claim it, right? So when it comes time for him to get that $750 that's in the account, he can't get it out.
Because his name doesn't match. Right.
I was like, how does it not match if you said that's your name? I literally put your name as the beneficiary. I gave the email you gave me specifically. I spelled it out and everything to turn over to you. Why aren't you able to claim it?
Right.
He had no explanation. He's like, well, and victim mentality. Well, I don't know what's going on. I'm not able to do it. Do you mind if you withdraw it and send it over to me? So me being an idiot, I'm not going to keep your money. I don't want to be guilty of taking anything that doesn't belong to me. That's not how I was raised. That's not how I roll.
Yeah, you're probably like, whatever. This is a glitch in the whole thing.
Fine.
Sure. Right.
There's a glitch. Something happened. I deposit into my own account and I send them over. And mind you, I've kept all these receipts. Back of my mind, for some reason, it was like, do not get rid of anything from this
just
person.
Just in case.
That's good.
In case. So all of these things are still here. And I sent it over to him. And I was like, do you want me to Zelle it? Because, Zelle is a pretty secure way of sending things. Let's Zelle. He's like, no, let's Cash App. I was like, why would you want me to Cash App you the money? Like, Cash App?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Sent the Cash App. But when it all unfolded, I was like, oh my God, I called GoFundMe immediately. And I was like, how can I get these people their money back? Like, for the people who did donate, how do I get? They're like, it's impossible. Now that you've removed the funds from there and he's gotten it, I felt horrible.
I want to say before we get into when this all came out, I followed a lot of your videos closely, and you were very supportive friend. You were defensive. I've seen lots of videos you posted that you were like, do not bring Eugene into this. About different topics, different
Protecting
things,
him, essentially.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what a great, I remember thinking, what a great friend. I myself have talked with Eugene in the past when, because Eugene had reached out to me, probably because I was a bigger creator with following, had chit-chatted back and forth with Eugene. I remember I've been on a live with you and Eugene in the past. I was on a couple lives and always felt, Eugene always, it seemed like he was in his car a lot of the times when he would go live, but was live a lot. There was a lot of times that he went live. I would look and I'm like, oh, Eugene's live again, but Eugene's out of work and, thinking all these different things and totally had me bamboozled.
Oh, yeah.
Just completely
had everybody bamboozled, I think.
I don't frequent my lives that much. I will pose, but it's very random if I do go on live and we're just chit-chatting about random things. It doesn't have to be about work, nursing, or thing. But he would constantly go on live. Let's go on live. Let's go on live. We're going to build a following. And I was like, I don't really like to go live. You can go live on your page and I'll turn off my camera and listen in the background just to kind of be supportive and stuff. But I would see him live. He'll go on with big names. I don't want to like name drop or anything, but
a lot of nurse creators.
He was good at getting you in the live. Like if you would make a comment out of support, like, "Hey Eugene,
join my live. Oh my God, thank you so much."
Yes, and it's like such a sweet voice and such a like genuine, like seemed like such a genuine soul. And I'm like, sure, I'll come on. Like, like what?
And it just became over the top after a while, and I was like, dude, you're always wanting to go live. I got kids, I got a husband.
Like you have a real career and a whole life.
Stuff to do. I can't be on live.
Right.
All these hours of the night and day, and I go to sleep. I can't. So he'd be on live on his own with other creators and stuff like that. When it unfolded, when I tell you, I was beyond embarrassed. I was devastated. I was heartbroken. Like I've been on FaceTime with this man, and my kids are in the background. My husband's in the background. You know how private we try to be. We try to be very public on TikTok, but also very private with our own personal lives because that's not something.
You let him into your life.
I feel like I was at a very vulnerable state already. I don't know if everybody was aware, but my father had passed a year before that. And I had lost my mom 7 years prior. Thank you. So it was really devastating for me that I lost those pillars in my life. And I don't have my grandparents and things like that. So I was in a very vulnerable state because coming up October was the year anniversary of my father's death. So even before that, I felt some kind of way because a lot has happened to me. And I feel like people deserve chances. People deserve a little kindness in their life because things can be really bad. But, a nice conversation can turn them up for a day.
And you know what? Like I relate to that. And I lost my mom and my dad. So my mom of ovarian cancer, my dad of alcoholism. So I come from that same mentality. Like life is short. Like you live in the present because you never know. When something can be ripped out from underneath you. And I'm the same type of friend. Like I'm a ride or die friend. Like if you are
Yeah.
my buddy and you're under my wing, I will not let somebody take you down or talk bad about you because
That's it. The claws come out, the horns, see all of
yes,
it, you know?
absolutely.
So it was really I can't even explain
So
what I
how
felt when it all just started to unfold.
this divulge? Because I know that there was a whole. We need to get into that.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll get into it. So, on the outside of my nursing, I attend carnivals, and it's something I
I know
started
you
doing
pour
right
all this
before.
pretty stuff. I love it.
And,
It's all
and can I
gorgeous.
just say that, oh my God, girl, you look amazing. Where did that body come from? Oh my God.
Thank you.
The body and the outfit and
my
it looks like so
gosh.
much fun.
It
I'm
is
jealous.
the
I'm
whole
like,
package.
yeah, I'm like, I want to be
So,
there.
like, I grew up like super religious, super closed family, super like sheltered. So as
my
an
gosh,
adult,
are you and
like
I
tell
related?
people, if I tell people, I'm like, if you see me wilding out in my 40s, leave me alone. I'm living out my childhood dreams. Okay, I am
There you
healing
go.
childhood traumas.
There
So,
you go.
I attend these carnivals, and it is such a freeing experience because I'm just not used to it. And even sometimes when I go outside, I'm like, holy God, somebody's going to see me like this. And then I have to like tell myself, you know what? It's okay. I'm grown. I'm grown now. It's okay. No one can say anything to me.
And you
Anyone that
look
could say anything to me
fantastic.
is gone. Thank you. So for some reason, as I was saying, other people who would listen to conversations, he echoes. So I said, I'm such a carnival chaser. And he goes, me too. And I was like, but I've never seen you post anything
You're like,
about
that's
carnival.
weird.
What do you mean, carnival chaser? So I'm like, okay, whatever, fine. I'm like, carnival's happening in Miami in October. I've already settled everything. Maybe you can get in on the back end and get a costume and we can go out and have a great time because it's a great experience. So
And you've never met Eugene in person.
Never met Eugene in person. It's a very public event. So, hey, why not? Come by the
Yeah.
carnival. We're all going to meet thousands of people. We'll have a great time. So he says that he set everything up. He goes on the website. He orders his package. He's like, got it. I got my confirmation. I'm coming to Miami. I'm going to make reservations. Da, 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 da. Okay. Fast forward. Okay. He didn't have a costume. So the big elaborate costume is separate from a package that he had purchased to do like a paint party on a Saturday. And we were able to find out that the band that was launching had a costume left over. You know, like somebody puts a deposit, doesn't finish paying for it. So the costume already in production, you can purchase that costume, but you have to purchase as is. So he attempted to purchase this costume. I got the leaders on the phone. They said, okay, this is the price. I'm going to send you over the invoice, da 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 da. He says he paid the invoice. They send him a receipt. And then all of a sudden, by the end of the day, he sends me a message and he's like, they just refunded my purchase. And I was like, why would they do that? I've never heard that happening. So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, like, could this possibly be like a prejudiced issue? Did they see that you were purchasing a female costume and it was a male name that popped up? Is it that they refused to sell to you? Because I'm not thinking that
Right.
you could potentially be causing fraud. I'm thinking
Right.
that
Why
maybe
would
there's
you?
something against you that they just don't want to sell you the costume. However, my nephew also wanted to attend Carnival and they had 2 costumes. So he was like, oh no, after everything you've done for me, I'm going to pay for your nephew's costume. So mind you, this is like $400 of a costume. And he's saying that he does this, da, 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 the whole shebang. So I was like, no, absolutely not. I don't need you to purchase a costume for my nephew. We got it.
Right.
It's fine. He insisted. And then when the invoice was returned to him, and I was like, this seems a little weird. Like that was like that little bing. Okay, something's off because I do this all the time. Why is yours returned?
Why are you having a problem? Right.
So I kind of went behind him and I called them and I was like, hey, do you still have a costume available? And they're like, yes, we still have a male costume and a female costume. And I said, okay, well, I would like to purchase the male costume because I'm like, if something's going on your end, I got to get to the bottom of this because this is really weird. So I purchased the costume for my nephew and call it a day. Fast forward to October. So Carnival happens in Miami. I'm probably an hour out from Miami. I always drive down and pick up my things like the week before Carnival happens. So I go, and of course, these people, they know me. I pick up all my packages. I sign off. They check everything. And I was like, you know what? Let me pick up his package for the paint party, even though he's not going to the carnival with the big, costume, and hold on to it so that when he arrives, I can give him the package instead of him having to come all the way down here. So I give his name, and the lady looks at me and she's like, there's no one here by that name. And I was like, no, that's impossible, because he said he purchased that package like 2 months ago.
Right.
She goes, no, I don't have anyone who purchased that package with that name. Because mind you, I've just picked up my package, my husband's package, my nephew's package. And there's also 2 girls that were with me that picked up their packages with different names and stuff like that. All you have to do is give the name, and the persons whose package you're picking up would have like a picture of your ID that they would put on their account, so that when you went to pick it up, that they're like, okay, you're the one who's authorized to pick up this package, because we're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars of a package, which is like drink package, blah, 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 bracelets, all these, merchandise in this box. She's like, the name's not there. And she turns the screen around and shows me the list of names. And his name is not on there. And I was like, okay.
You're like, is that what? when you think you knew? Was that the moment?
That's the moment. And I was like, you're lying.
You're like, all those tiny little voices in my head, all of them.
You're like,
okay.
It all came flooding. And I was like, you lied.
Was you feeling sadness or anger? Were you angry or both?
It had to be both.
Yeah.
And a little bit of shock, right?
Shock, very much shock.
Yeah.
Because why would you take it this far?
Yeah.
How could you take it this far? Why would you do this? Imagine if I was only driving down there to get your things. What a waste of my time. If there is one thing someone can do to me, is waste my time.
Same.
Comes and goes.
Don't waste my time. My biggest pet peeve.
My time.
Yes.
Waste my time. You have wasted my time. And that's when things start to fizz around. So I go back home and I'm like, called my husband, called my nephew, and I was like, hey, I just came back from Miami and they told me Eugene's name wasn't on the list. Now, mind you, he had been telling me that he's planning, that he already booked a room at the Ritz, that he rented this luxury car to drive around in Miami. Because, in Miami, everybody's flashy. Everybody wants to do all these things. That he rented this car, that I should cancel my hotel reservations to come and stay at the 2-bedroom suite that he reserved at the Ritz. And I'm not that kind of person. I like nice shit, okay? I like nice shit. But I like my nice shit. Okay, I like my nice shit. I work very hard, and I am very proud of anything that I accomplish and attain for myself. So when you're telling me of all these flashy things you're doing, it's not impressive to me, because I just couldn't care less. Like, I don't care. Congratulations, you're staying at the Ritz. Congratulations, you reserved the Lamborghini. Congratulations, I'm very happy for you. But that does not entice me to change anything on my end because you're doing flashy stuff. I don't care. So thank God that he did not convince me to cancel my reservations that were already made a year prior at the hotel that I usually go to and the things that I usually do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you didn't reserve the hotel, did you? You didn't reserve that car, did you? You didn't buy the package, did you? I was like, you know what? And as a matter of fact,
was this via text or phone call?
This is via text, because I'm calling and calling and calling and he's not answering. And I was like, you know what? As a matter of fact, you were in the hospital one day saying that you were on the verge of intubation, that you were going into respiratory arrest, and they were about to intubate you. And I asked you to provide me with the phone number for your mother and father, just in case you did get tubed, so that I can still have a means of communication with them to make sure that you're okay and that you're improving and that you're pulling through, because this intubation will probably be temporary because of all the things that are going on with your body. Because this is my life. I know this in and out.
Yeah,
this whole life support,
course.
intubation. This is what I know. So I'm like, give me their number. He texts me both numbers. Mom, phone number. Dad, phone number. And at the time he was seeing this gentleman, he says, that was very involved and knew about me and blah, blah, blah. Like the whole elaborate story of this whole relationship, okay, in the background, provided me with that person's number as well. And he's like, oh, they have your number too, blah, 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 blah. So the following day after he provides me this number, I'm calling and I cannot reach him. I'm like in my mind saying, oh my God,
he's
intubated.
Yeah.
He's intubated. He's on a vent. I cannot reach him. He's not answering the phone. I would have heard from him by now. So I reach out to the phone numbers that are provided. I send messages and I was like, hi, good morning. I pray the message finds you well. I was trying to reach out to Eugene. He's not answering his phone. Did he get intubated? If he did, I'm praying for him. Please just keep me updated if everything is all right. They respond with, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. I was like, in all of my life, I've never had one child not be able to provide me with a number of their mother or father in the back of their head, just with their eyes closed, without a doubt. You would never, misinterpret any numbers. You would never send the wrong. You know your mom's number. You know your dad's number.
Or could you mix up both or all three numbers? I mean, come on.
How?
Yeah.
I was like, you're a liar, aren't you? I said, you know what? After all that I have done to support you, I was like, you don't even have the galls to pick up this phone and explain this to me. So he starts with the defensive text.
And he was avoiding you for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember you and I talked during that time, and you were, to your credit, you were rough. Like, you pushed him. You pushed his back into a corner, and you're like, I'm giving you 15 minutes to answer me.
15 minutes. You better answer me, or I am going to spray you all over the internet about all this BS you've done. I said, I've lost nights of sleep.
Good for you.
I have defended you. I have said things for you that I say to my closest, near and dear friends and family, and you have the audacity to not want to answer this phone and explain yourself. He starts with, oh, you have no idea what I've been through, and my family is this, and I signed out AMA from the hospital. I was like, I don't give a rat's ass what's going on presently. You owe me an explanation. If you don't give me one, I swear to God, I was livid.
Wait, did you at this point think he wasn't a nurse?
No.
Or did you still think he was a nurse?
So I still thought he was a nurse.
Okay.
But now the doubts were just being casted over it.
Right. Because you doubt everything now.
That he has said. I'm like, are you even a nurse?
That's why I'm like, why even say you're going to go to the carnival in Miami? Like, why say that if you know you're not going?
It was just like, at what point did you think all of this was going to come out? And how did you think this was going to look that you lied this much? So me and my other friends, we started digging because, we all in the nurse community know that all of our licenses are public information.
That's
right.
right.
A name in a state. And that's it. Everything that you could have ever possibly done under that license is public galore. So we started our search, and we searched and searched and searched and searched, and nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing in any state, no record anywhere.
By that name.
And I was like, you're not a nurse. If this is your real name, I was like, what is your real name? Send me your ID. I said, you know what? I'm so pissed because I sent you my ID to put on this account for me to pick you up in Miami. Yeah. You have my information. Send me your ID.
But didn't he send you license numbers? Supposedly, he sent you a couple claiming he was licensed in Arizona and Illinois, right?
Yes, he did. So when I got so pissed and I was like, send me your ID now, because I looked you up and I can't find you. He's like, of course I have licenses. And he sent those numbers. So, of course, we went to look up the numbers because you can also find nurses just by the license number on nurses. You just type it in and voila. It came up to somebody named Alex something. Another one of the numbers came out to someone else. And I was like, I wonder if this person is even aware that you are using this information fraudulently. Like, I pray
identity
God, you don't
theft.
have an actual job posing as a nurse under this person's license. Like, it
that
just
happens.
Oh my God. All of the lies just more and more and more started to come out. And I felt so horrible that I just told as many people as I could that I knew that I was actually mutually engaging with, please take it down. Take it down, take it down, take it down. There's too many loose screws. I was like, there's too many lies. I can't vouch for him anymore. I can't because it's
not adding up. Nothing adds up.
Take it down. So it went quiet. I reached out to Nurse Erica and I was like, look, you have a huge platform. And I know you posted because I was, back and forth with another creator that is so toxic on this app.
Thank you.
Take down the video. Take down the video, please.
I think I know who it is, and I'm not even asking. Okay.
Oh my God. I was like, please just take it down. I said, I want no parts of this anymore. I was like, I think it's all part of their big scheme. All of it seems so pushed, so pushy.
Yes.
They wanted to push the GoFundMe so much. I was like, I cannot even say
They
if that person
were
was part of the
pushing
scheme
it
because
hardcore.
the way this GoFundMe was being pushed was just, you just felt in every bone in your body that it just wasn't right. It just didn't seem right, because it's like you would go on live and be like, if anybody would find, I'm like, what is this? Some kind of infomercial? If somebody would find it in their
That's
hearts
what
to
it looked
donate,
like, kind of.
like,
yeah.
holy smokes! I'm like,
For just 32 cents a month, you too
19 cents a day, you
can
too
support Nurse Eugene.
can support Nurse Eugene. That's literally how it started to feel. And I was like, I cannot be pushing this GoFundMe. And I tried to reach out as many people as I could. And I was like, take it down. And I was so overwhelmed and so distraught and so hurt that when Carnival finally came, I just cut him off, cut everything. I said, if you ever reach out to me again, I promise you that I'm going to expose every single detail about you and this to everyone or anyone that will listen, because you are truly evil and you're sick. You need help. For the amount of lies you told about your disease, about your lover, about your parents, about, traumatic events that you've taken part of, your post-nightclub dates, all the lies are endless. I was like, and the fact that you can keep up with those lies makes it even more disturbing.
Insidious.
Stay away from me. You're sick. Stay away from me. So I cut it off.
Good for you.
I started to kind of like remove myself from my TikTok because he would still go live with these nurse creators, and it's tearing me up inside. Like,
Oh, you're like, I
how
can't
do
even
reach out
watch.
to the
I
other
cannot
creators
even.
and say, get off of this live with him. Like, you're
Yeah.
jumping down this rabbit hole with him. I was like, I felt horrible, and at the same time, there's really not much I could do. And I was like, you know what? I gotta walk away from it. I gotta get off TikTok, and I just can't. So slowly, as I started going back into my TikTok, I saw a message from a nurse named Nurse Jen. And she reached out to me on my backup page, because my backup page has way more mutuals than my main page. Because after all this nonsense, you think I'm going to open random messages from people? No, absolutely not. No.
I don't blame you.
For the mutuals that I have on the back page, I started opening up the messages. And she reached out and she says, hey, I know you were friends with Nurse Eugene. I haven't really seen you posting too much about him, but I tried to call him. He was in the hospital, and the nurse picked up his cell phone and she wanted next of kin information. And in my mind, it's just, I'm spiraling. I'm spiraling. And I was like, do I say something? Do I not say something? Do I say something? Do I not say something? And I was like, you know what? I have to say something.
Yeah.
Because now you've pulled somebody else in your web, and you're having this person lose sleep, and they're concerned about you, and you are full of...
And you're like, this has to stop.
This has to stop. So I replied and I said, look, to be completely honest with you, I couldn't give you next of kin information for him if I was paid to. I said, because I was provided next of kin information that was false. I don't know who Eugene is. I don't know who his parents are. I don't know where he's from. I don't know what he is. I don't even know if he's a nurse. So if I were you, I would tread very lightly on defending him, on spending any time being overly concerned with what's going on with him. Tread lightly.
Good for you.
Oh, honey. After I sent that message, she was like, thank you. Suspicion confirmed. I was like, what are you talking about?
She had red flags too.
She had red flags. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, honey. I called his phone and the nurse picked up. And she said that he's a very questionable individual, that everything's very secretive, the names are very different. It's just not making any sense. We don't like to say the word drug seeking because, that labels a community of people who feel unheard. But she said that there might be a substance abuse issue at hand because the diagnoses and the symptoms are not matching, and they just need a little bit more background information on him, and they cannot seem to find it.
Wow.
Well. I'm not going to say who, but certain individuals started digging even deeper, and background checks were paid for, and
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, honey.
Wow.
And news outlets were looked for, and Pandora's box was opened. They found all kinds of things. You hear me? All kinds of things. He's not a nurse.
Like
there is
what?
no license on file. They found him using false names in news interviews. They found all kinds of things.
And come to find, wait, how old did you think Eugene was?
So he lied to me and told me he was 38.
38.
Shocking.
He doesn't look 38.
And I said the same. I said, you don't look 38. He's like, yeah, I get that all the time. And you know that voice, the mannerisms. Until we actually went and found a Instagram page that belongs to him. And the Instagram page says, like, Nurse Eugene 98 or something like that. I can't remember exactly right now the year. And I was like,
which would
well,
make
if
him
it says
25.
Nurse Eugene 98, that would make you... I think at that time when we looked, it would make him actually 28, not 38.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, I was born in, you know, if you were born in 98, that means you're 28, not 38 years old. And then it started to dawn on me that all of his sign-ons said Nurse Eugene 98 passwords. And he tried to create a TikTok page, like combining mine and his page together. So if you see a page that has my name on it connected to his or any other page,
report it.
I have one backup page and that is it. My main page and the backup page. I have no other pages on TikTok. He tried to create a mutual page on TikTok with my username and his username and sent me like the login information.
That is
and
not
the
cool.
Password had 98. So there's no way that you could tell me that 98 isn't of significance to you.
Right.
Because it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. And if you are this, what did he say he graduated from? The college he said he graduated from.
He said he had an MSN, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And he said he graduated from this very well-known school. And when people started to dive in, they're like, that school doesn't have a nursing program. It never did. It doesn't exist.
You cannot make this up.
The hole is so deep. I was like, stop lying. He said he was part of a fraternity organization that is very well known. They were like, nope, not true. It's not true. He didn't go to that school. He doesn't have that degree. It's not him. So much so that they found Twitter pages where he used to claim that he was a special ed teacher.
Oh.
Where he had a Cash App listed.
Oh,
and
God, he was
people
a
were
teacher
donating
too?
to
Wow.
this Cash App. Oh yeah, honey. When I tell you the hole is so deep.
Wow.
Isn't his father not even passed on? Because I saw something about him at a funeral or something.
They said that the bishop that he's claiming as his father is really his grandfather. It is not his father. His father had already passed on.
But he
They're just
doesn't
not
have
involved.
this voice that he carries. He actually does not talk meek and normal.
No.
Yeah,
No.
it's
What?
very.
That's not his voice?
Oh no!
Shut
He has
up.
a southern accent, but it is not like that.
I did not know that.
I'm from Helen, Georgia. No, you're not. No, you're
It's
not.
more of like a deeper. It's not a
Oh my
meek,
God.
soft voice.
Even
No.
that was an act?
You could not even reverse look up his phone number.
What?
It didn't exist.
Yeah,
wasn't linked to anyone.
That whole talking like this.
Yes.
All that.
My God!
Yes.
For 30 minutes,
all
I
that,
was
honey.
pinned up against someone. No, it's more like this. Like
Yeah. Very
I
over
did
the-
not know that.
You cannot reverse
Wow.
look up his phone number and and then I was like, you know what? Let me look up the phone numbers that you gave me. Those fake numbers that you said were your mom and pa. I reverse looked those up and they was from Chicago. And I was like, well, it seems like you're more affiliated with this area because I had a nephew of mine that went into the Navy and he graduated from a boot camp back in the end of August or September like that. And I flew out to Chicago. He knew exactly which restaurants I should check out. He told me which pizza spot was the best. And I was like, now that those numbers you gave me are connected to someone in Chicago, when you flip the numbers, it actually is registered to someone named Frida Mitchell. So he superimposed the numbers thinking I wouldn't, reimpose the numbers. And when you superimpose the last two digits on the number, it goes to someone named Frida Mitchell. So I was like, this person lives in Chicago. They don't live in Georgia. You most likely live in Chicago. You claim that you work in D.C. You claim you're from Georgia and all these places. When I was in Chicago, you knew exactly where I was and all these places that I should frequent. I feel like you are more associated with this area than you've ever been with any of the areas that you claimed. He is still participating actively in nurse organized events. Oh yeah.
Like what?
I was going to ask you, is he still on social media?
He is, as a matter of fact. When
It
I was
looked like
on
his
live,
account was gone, though.
It was for a moment, and he came back and switched everything up. His Instagram, I was on live when they first started discussing all the lies. As we were talking about what he had posted in his bio on Instagram, he was changing it. He was changing it as that live was going on. He was listening to everything that was being said and editing his Instagram account. So the last I saw a posting of him, he was with the New York Nurses Association during Pride.
Shut
There
up.
is a video. Oh yeah, there's a video of him participating in the New York Nurses Association Pride
Oh my
parade.
gosh.
And there's like a
no.
whole like posting with his picture, and I was like, look at this fraud.
But I do want to say, Lou, that you did redeem yourself because your videos, you got the message out there as to what was going
Yeah.
on, and you did not like stand
And
down
you reached
and just
out
you
to people.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
still
And
feel
you-
really awful. Just I don't know,
You
it's
shouldn't.
just-
You shouldn't.
sucks.
No,
It's
it
not
shows
at all
that you
your
have a
fault
good heart.
at all.
like you have a good heart, and all of us fell for it. I mean,
I felt really bad. I reached out to Nurse Erica, of course, because I was like, social media is not my thing. I just got on this platform making videos just for fun. Like, what do I do?
And then you
What do I
encountered
do?
that toxic nurse.
Erica's like, ooh, I don't know. This is beyond my
And
skill.
a lot of times you see big creators, and if you don't know them personally, like for instance, I didn't know Nurse Erica personally before that interaction. You know what I'm saying? So when I reached out, I was like, look, this is what happened to me. What do I do? And of course, as the big nurse auntie she is, she's like, take it down. What can you do? This is why I don't post every single thing that comes on this app, is because people are really out here trying to take advantage of your platform.
It is
and want you
true.
to spread, inaccurate things that,
All the time.
everybody has been a victim of it. It's a lesson learned, and
That's
you just
the
go
hard
for it.
part.
And
How
I
many times
always
do you
take-
get stuff about, please share my GoFundMe, please?
Every
and it's
day.
like you almost
Every
you have
day.
to make a blanket rule, even though you feel bad, like because some
I make
of it
people
sounds
send
very.
me proof now. Like
Yeah.
send me the newspaper clipping or whatever of it. Yeah.
And initially you would feel bad because you don't know that side of it, but then when you experience it, you realize, you know what? You're not bad after all. There's nothing wrong with you. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, and that right there is an example that people should follow. So I was like, all right, Nurse Erica, good.
Thank you.
It's all good. It's all good.
Lou,
here.
what would you
you.
tell people, like, if anytime that they have an inner voice that maybe
got-
is hinting something,
Don't
do you
ignore
follow
it.
that voice? Do you
I
listen to it
tend
more? What do you
to
think?
tell people you have to always listen to the inner voice, but you have to give people chances too. Some
Yeah.
things can always really sound out of whack, and it sounds just really far-fetched, but I give people the benefit of the doubt, and I still do. Even after this experience, I do proceed more with caution, but it just still highlights how many people are taking advantage and how many voices get silenced by those who are strictly out here just to take advantage for their own personal gain. And it's like, don't stop listening to the little voice, because your kindness, your gestures can really help someone. For those that take advantage, they'll get their karma. It's gonna come.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's gonna come. But you just don't
Well said.
ignore the little voice. Because
Good
if it
advice.
doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
Wait, I want
go
to. I
figure.
want to let Lou say one more time. Where can people follow you on TikTok?
You can follow me at D Cherie on TikTok.
These nuts.
Spell it for
These
them.
nuts. DZCHERIE. And I repeat, I do not have any other pages besides this main page and the backup page that is pinned on that page. That is it.
Anything
There are no
else
other-
is a scam.
It is not me. And if you ever see Nurse Eugene, you stay away. Okay?
That's right. Amen. Good advice. And you guys need to go follow Sherry.
Yes,
thank you.
because she's hysterical. Seriously.
And I want to say I really appreciate you guys. I just went to a retirement party of one of my really well-known charge nurses, and I was telling her how it's just so sad now that all of the people with this pillar of information, the vault of information, the big nurses are just leaving the bedside. So it's so good to have those with all the experience above you still close in a circle that you could rely on and talk to and get information and bounce ideas off of, because the ones who are coming in after us, they don't know what that's like. And I always find that so valuable. So I so appreciate you guys, even if I'm in the background and not responding. responding. I'm still watching. I'm still
thank you.
I'm still commenting.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap up this episode of Norses. Horses. Of Nurses Uncorked. Thank you, Lou, which is DZ Sherry on TikTok. Always follow your inner voice. And thank you so much, Lou, for being on here. I really appreciate it.